Hello everyone. Welcome to the alumni series of VOD Talks. Today we have with us Shiva, who is a 2021 pass out from SP in the Ops specialization. And he is currently working in the capacity of a product supply planning manager in Procter & Gamble.
Thank you for being here and speaking to us, Shiva. We are very excited to talk to you about your time at SPJIMR and your experience in the industry. We are sure the participants would enjoy hearing you. Before we start, would you like to say something to our audience?
Yeah, sure. First of all, Arnuv and Shashank, thanks for having me here. It's an absolute pleasure talking to SP, anyone from SP. Okay, and then when I got to know that there's an EOD talks going on, I was very excited to be a part of this. And I guess looking to have a good conversation. So let's begin. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shiva. Likewise, the pleasure is all ours. And now we'll be diving deep into the sections. So we have divided the episode. We'll be talking about your experiences in the SPJIMR and thereafter your experiences in the industry, right? And PNG in general. So from what we know, that the placements which happened during your time, right? It was marked with COVID-related phenomena. And it was majorly online and a deviation from what happened like in the yesteryears as well. So how were it different and how did you process the placements as a batch during that particular time?
Got it. Okay. So first, talking about placements, right? So we all know it's random in nature. All SP placements are random in nature. Okay. So and we were the first. We were like the batch which was like, in fact, like, I got caught in COVID because COVID first wave came in 2020 March, right? So that's when our DOCC also got suddenly squeezed in between, and we had to do it virtually, DOCC. So placements was full havoc actually. Initially from April, May, June, it was like classes suddenly became online, and it was completely new. And people were panicking what is going to happen, and people were actually expecting that we will come back to college in July, August, and attend the interviews. Later, we got to know that it's going to happen completely virtually. Now, what are common apprehensions were one, online GDs. How are you going to do online GDs? What if the internet connection goes away, and that's a problem. Second thing is interview. Now again, imagine you are talking in an interview and suddenly something happens. What will you do? So again, one more thing is the companies. What kind of companies will come? Will companies, lesser companies come? So all these were common apprehensions amongst all of us, and I guess SP really managed to calm us down. I guess the dean and all the faculty members helped us calm us down. In fact, even alumni helped us. Helped us in they took online interviews. In fact, online GDs also alumni came and helped us in online GDs. As first time we were navigating an online GD. So it was completely, I would say the batches which came after us was not a surprise to them, because already one round of online interviews had happened, but we were like completely fresh on the boat and in that situation. So yep, the one problem was it was havoc and everything was new for us. That is one there. Now talking about placements per se. So yeah, yes, it is random in nature, and we did try our level best, but then we worked as per how the shortlist came. So preparing a placement is something which was again difficult, because when we are in campus, we generally go to a library, or we have 5-6 people gather about and prepare for placements. Be it academic groups also, we gather. Now everything had turned out to be completely virtual. So it was quite a difficult time for us, but I guess we eventually managed the situation. So yeah, that's it.
I think what you mentioned about like being a support system for each other, right? Like how the alums help and the batchmates also help. So that is something very unique to SP, which I have also realized that during our situation as well, the finals is being marked or said that the session is going to come, right? But at this point of time, talking to the alums really suits you and makes you believe in the process and giving the best, taking the best out of it. So my next question is about the factors which you consider, because since it is said that you can't choose your first job, right? But there are a lot of factors which you consider, like the brand name of the company, the growth, the CTC, and everything. So were there any factors on top of your mind when you were going for a company, or is it just that you were believing in the process and then you were thinking that perhaps later you can switch or choose the domain which you want to work in?
That's a good question. So I would say you should narrow down on something. Okay, see, it's good to again, it's good to have be open to all roles, all can be consulting, FMCG, banking, or anything. It's good to be open to all the roles, but you should also have an inclination towards something. Okay, so, what really interests you? Again, 2 years may not be enough. Even 20 years may not be enough to know how what interests you. But at least when I joined, I for a fact knew that consulting is not for me, because
Okay.
consulting is more about doing presentations. Again, I'm not demeaning consulting. Consulting has its own perks also, but I'm not a travel person. So consulting involves a lot of travel. I'm not a PPT person, but consulting involves a lot of PPTs. So these were some. So what I did was, out of 4 5 sectors, what is definitely not for me. That is belonging to my nature of a person. I was identified that and eliminated those sectors. Again, in 2020, the situation was different. I should not do it, but I took the risk and I actually did not prepare much for consulting. So I think what you should know, one factor you should know is what does not interest you for sure. That is something. If you know what interests, that's a different story. But know what you don't like. That's just one factor you should do. Second case regarding compensation, I don't think there's much of a difference between compensations paid by consulting or FMCG. Maybe the career trajectory will be different. That's a different story. But at the time of placement, they generally pay the same, almost, or more or less the same. See, I think 20 rupees difference will be there, but that's not much. So
Right.
that is the package. Second, third is going to be the brand. Of course, brand does matter, and I would say in autumns you can definitely take a risk in autumns, because if you don't do autumns well, you have a finals to come back to also. So if you
Yeah.
want to explore some industry, you can do that in autumns. So brand really matter. So yeah, mainly it was brand for me. It was mainly what sector I did not like for sure, and the brand value. These two were the prima facie. These were the things which I considered for the placements. So,
Understood. Thanks for the answer.
So, Shiva, it has been almost 2 years for you in industry after MBA, right? So, how has been this transition like for you from college to industry? Like, what exactly has changed about you in this 2 years?
okay. So I believe in college, like there is no pressure to perform. See, at the most, if you don't perform, what will happen? Your grades will go down, right? So, and trust me, grades really doesn't matter much. In even be it in SP also, be it in getting a short list, and unless you are dean's top 20, that's a separate discussion altogether. But you have to perform in industry, and you don't have that kind of a pressure in SP. SP has different pressures, be it deadlines, submissions, but it's not like, if you submit, you'll at the most what will happen, you'll get a low grade, you'll get a low rank. But in industry, it's more like the company's deliverables are impacted because of you. So, and responsibilities which you get in a corporate is a lot, and SP is more chiller in nature. Again, this is one way of looking at things. Other way how you can also look at things is SP is hectic. There's like if you have 12 a.m. submission, they purposefully we were asked to make PPTs, made do submissions, work with the same group of people, and that's sometimes that really, in fact, trust me, after going to industry, I have never I have closed my shut down my laptops from 10 p.m. But in SP, I was forced to keep a laptop open till 12 a.m. at least on certain days, because given the kind of rigor is which is there in the academic calendar. But otherwise, transition, I guess one thing I also feel is SP has actually prepared me for the industry, because of these nature of, long-term assignments and collaboration with different people. All this really helped me, because there also there's a lot of collaborations are involved. But yeah, both has its same perks and downs. But if given a chance, I'll always go back to SP anyway, because the nature of deliverables and all, we're always on the feet here. But SP, you can, okay, some days will be hectic. There'll be some days also will be fun, where you can just relax and not bother about things. But yeah, I would definitely choose SP days or industry days, beat any day. So,
That's a very good point which you made, and I think I resonate with that as well. Like performing without pressure is different as compared to performing when you know that a hammer is on your head and there are certain incentives which you have to work for. But like after all, that's life, right? Because there is a transition which has to be made from college life, and we can't like live without pressures. So now bringing that to the next question, I think this is a question for all the ops folks who are there, be it PGP1 or PGP2. So we understand that a lot of subjects which are taught us in the classes as well, right? So how is the application of those subjects in the industry different as compared to the concepts which we are taught in the textbooks? And did you feel that there were any repetitive things which you do in the industry and doesn't require the application of those concepts or theory which you have learned in classes?
Short answer to that question is it's irrelevant. What you study in SP and what is the industry is irrelevant. Okay. So,
Okay.
what I would say is SP can give maybe a framework in which you can think about things. For example, there are some subjects like MPC, manufacturing performance and control,
Right.
supply chain planning, coordinations, and all, right. This will give you an overall picture of, for example, an industry is divided into manufacturing, logistics, purchases, etc. That overview is what the submission XP can give. But if you want to go something narrower, let's take a particular instance, warehouse operations, right? So I'm sure there must be there's a subject in logistics and warehouse, and I guess in SP where they are taught different stacking arrangements and how people should pick up and all. But you will see in industry is different, complete not the way how SP is taught. So I would say SP's the work what you study in SP, the tools which you study in SP are different. Not the industry works differently, but SP will definitely train you for industry, but not in that way. It will train you more holistically, more about how the industry operates at an overview level, and also the soft skills about how to make a PPT, and those are, and also collaboration soft skills. So these are things which SP can teach. But looking at hard, specifically operations point of view, I would
Yeah,
say that it's not, it doesn't match with the industry. Industry is different from what is being taught.
got it. And just out of curiosity, how common are the plant rules which are given after doing operation from SP? Because this is also a question which many people ask, that the first stint is almost always plant rules. So what do you think about that? And how common is that in the industry?
See, again, it depends on which sector you want to go. Okay, if you're
Okay.
talking about consumer goods, right? So if you look at operations, guys generally go for consulting also. But I would say consumer FMCGs are a very strong preference for operations, guys. At least that's what I have known in my batch. I guess it will be the same thing. For consumer goods, guys, you cannot avoid plant. Okay, for example, because consumer goods may, if you want to, for a second, just forget about the short term. Okay, now you are entering a consumer goods industry, you want to go up the ladder, okay, at some point. Unless you are thinking that, I'm talking a typical MBA graduate who joins in a corporate, he'll want to grow the corporate. It's not that he wants to stay in a corporate, he wants to grow up the ladder. So once you grow up the ladder, you should have some knowledge on what is happening in each segment of the supply chain, be it purchase or be it procurement or be it, logistics or manufacturing. I'll say important for me, right? I was particular, I didn't want to plant because I already with the plant experience only I went. I was
Yeah.
lucky enough that I didn't get a plant, but they told me that, if you don't get a plant, you get a plant someday. And if you don't choose a plan, that's up to you. But your career growth may get impacted. Because the nature of consumer goods itself is like that. If you join an e-commerce firm, right? Join an e-commerce firm, you can avoid manufacturing. But e-commerce nature itself is more of deliveries and all that. But if you're very particular that you want to join a consumer goods, join a consumer goods. If you're very particular, you don't want a manufacturing. Maybe see, you cannot choose your first job. That is true. You cannot choose. They will put you based on vacancy, but you can later, definitely you can talk to your manager and you can move around. It's not that it's going to be fixed or something. But I would say, if you're joining consumer goods, be open to manufacturing at any point of time. I also hate manufacturing, I know that, but I am actually open to it. I'm like, okay, I might think give it a shot, because after coming here, I realized that the knowledge of a plant is really important even in planning also. I mean, I'm in a planning division, so you should know plant, you should know purchase, you should know certain elements of each function to go up and give directions to people. So I get it. I get where you're coming from. That plant cannot be avoided. That's true. If it's a consumer goods, a different sector has a different ball game altogether. Consumer goods, be open to plant at least for some time. थोड़ा करो काम, मतलब I know it's pain moving the plant, but at least keep, like, see, that carries a 20 years journey, right? So maybe just keep 2 3 years for plant and 17 years avoid the plant. It's okay. I mean, just have an experience in plant. Be open is what I would say.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I think you're coming from the fact that you have to work on ground to understand that how does the people, like even the managerial positions work, right? You have to understand the workers and the execution part. And I think plant gives you a touch point, a good touch point for doing that. So like doing that becomes indispensable.
No, again, one is that. And second thing
Yeah.
is, okay, now simple thing. Now, for example, I am doing a planning now. Okay,
Yeah.
I should know how changeovers in plant exactly work. For example,
Yeah.
you are moving from one product to another product. Plant will say, I can't do this because, it'll have a lot of washouts will be there, a lot of changeovers will be there. So, and if you have a plant experience, you will know what are the plant constraints. So in plant, they typically wants to operate. For example, you suddenly production has increased, suddenly demand has increased. The plant, and you are taking a plant, please produce more. Plant will say, no, I don't have people, or the shifts, number of shifts has to increase, capacity planning. So all these things, yeah, you're right. Apart from the soft skills, the hard technical constraints believe in the plan for something. So that is why it's imperative you actually know something about the plant, and then you can move around. But early on, get a plant experience. What I would say.
Makes a lot of sense. Thanks for that. And now I think this is a good segue to the next segment, which is more about your work life in general. So, yeah, so the cliche question. So, how does your typical workday look like in PNG? And people talk about work-life balance, right? And it is assumed that FMCG has a comparatively good work-life balance as compared to other industries. So, is that true?
At least based on limited understanding, the short answer to your question is yes, it's true. It is true that FMCGs, but again, so see, it is probably subject to depends on your manager, depends on the company culture. All this is there. I literally know consultants who are working so slogging really well. I guess consultant problem is that you have to deal with clients, right? And
Yeah.
clients have very high unrealistic expectations and all, and it's not that you have worked you slog for 3 months. It's a new client again slog for 3 months. But consumer goods is a continuous. It's continuous in nature. It's not new people. No client interface. It's mainly with your own team. So you can actually decide to slog. Then you can actually chill. So from a nature of industry point of view itself, consulting, I would say, in my opinion, is more heavier than work heavier than FMCG. Again, I know people in FMCG also who has burnt their midnight oil because of the type of manager they are, because of a crisis situation which happened. But consumer goods is better in terms of work-life balance. And because PPT making also is not much there, I'm fully anti PPT making. So now talking about my work per se, right? So my typical work starts at around 8 and it ends at 4. As official timing ends at 4, and then unofficially I come home and work for a couple of hours. And it's actually it completely and where I make it a point weekends I shut my laptop. I make it a point not to work on the weekends unless, yeah, sometimes I might get calls. That is different, but meeting is strict no. I having a meeting, or unless it's very critical. There's like a leadership review on Monday. I don't work on the weekend, but generally weekends are my time off. Friday evening to Monday morning is my time off. But yes, weekdays are crazy. Weekdays are crazy. I'm not denying that. 8 to 4, then after I come home by 6, and then 6 to 8. So after dinner I shut off my laptop. So that's how it is. I guess you can expect 10 to 12 hours weekdays, and weekends can be free. Again, also it also depends on how early are you able to grasp things, how smart are you in avoiding the work which you should not do. There are some clear R&Rs also, or your roles and responsibilities. So you can
Right.
stick to that and avoid work, or you can go beyond that and work, and you can take a balance call, should I work or not. So all that also, and most importantly, how good your Excel skills are. If you're very good at MS Microsoft Excel, you can literally sail FMCG. Trust me. Or be it consulting. Please know Excel. Excel, if you are very strong at Excel, know the shortcuts in Excel, you can actually have a better work-life balance, irrespective of your industry. Okay? So that is my 2 cents on this.
So also you mentioned that you are working in planning section, right? So can you please elaborate more about what exactly you do in this section so that people can expect what they can do after MBA if they go to planning section?
Okay. So in plan, I am actually handling raw materials planning for hair care business of PNG. Okay. So in a nutshell, Head and Shoulders and Pantene are the two major hair care for PNG. If I don't do my job well, PNG cannot produce these goods at all. Okay. So I handle a portfolio of around 55 raw materials, 50 raw materials. Okay. And my typical work nature is to first ensure that product is always the raw materials are always available to produce. Now, if you look at how supply chain is, right? Supply chain is always as per demand. So demand comes as per demand, then production planning is done. Based on the production planning only, I have to get my raw materials. Here's the catch now. What I can do is I can easily pump a full factory with raw materials, and then there'll be no problem with production. But that's the caveat. The caveat is I have to manage inventory and supply. So I have an inventory target also. That is, one is you have to ensure there's no production loss in the plant, and at the same time, must not have so much inventory that it's hitting your scorecard. So managing supply and inventory is the fundamental problem of a work of a planning person. Okay. Now the what caveats will come suddenly in 15. So I am generally measured at what is the inventory level at the last day of the month. Okay, so what will happen on 20th of the month? Planning team will come and say production is going to get cut because shipment is not running. So now I am operating with certain lead times. Now I cannot cut the lead time. Don't dispatch. I cannot say all that. So handling supply and inventory is a fundamental work of any planning person in a FMCG. So this is a typical role. I can talk more details, but this is like the overview of the what I do for daily.
Thanks for that. That's very informative. And also, like regarding this role, because I think planning in PNG is a very aspirational role. So, any advice for the first years currently who are studying the various ambit of subjects, that what all should they focus on, or how should they build their acumen going forward, so as to they can grab such roles in the future?
See guys, first year में chill मारोगे, okay? Don't at all think about all these things, okay? Let me tell you about me, okay? First year I completely chilled. My primary goal of joining an SP, at least the first year, was to get out of factory and chill at SP, okay? So I would definitely say second year you must put your focus. First year is, I would say, just experiment. Do if you want to do singing, do dancing, do whatever you want to do in the first year, okay? Second year में focus more on the core subjects. There's a 3-4 core subjects like supply chain planning, coordination, logistics, and I don't remember the other subjects names, but yeah, there are a few subjects. So focus on those subjects very well, okay? And yeah, interviews, we'll talk separately about the interviews, because the question was more focused on first years. I would say first is need not do anything for now. Please enjoy your life, roam around, party, chill maro in the first year. Don't do anything. Forget placement नाम के भी कोई चीज है, you forget all that in the first year. Okay, I would just say, what you should do for sure is in the first year, get your CV, talk to your managers, and get all the CV points verified. To work on that, because you have just come to the first year. Because what happens generally is in second year, you're in the second year, you have lost contact with your previous manager, and then you'll be going to them for CV point verifications and all. Right? So be in touch with the manager and maybe towards like Jan Feb types, get their approvals for CV points. Right? That's what I would say. But first year, and I would say first year, and this is again, if you're doing consulting, it's a different story. Consulting, I would say, start the triads and all that. But if you're talking specifically about consumer goods, nothing you need to do for the first year. That is for sure.
I think this will be quite reassuring for the audience, or for the first year audience will be seeing this episode. And also, you talked about like following your passion and doing various activities. So we know that you're the founder of Spin Club as well in SP.
The
So
founder, you can say I was the head of Spin, not the founder. Like
right,
I
right. So
was the
just wanted
first
to
president, first club head of Spin, not the founder.
got it. So just like, can you elaborate on that? Like, how did this passion get triggered, and how did you follow the passion of dancing in SP?
Okay, so yeah, guys. So I still remember when I joined SP, right? Then you are bombarded with a series of assignments and quizzes and case study competitions, and also I knew for a fact that it is not for case study is not meant for me. Okay, and my thumb rule in college was don't go to the, you must be in the top 200 of the batch. Okay, you should not be in a below, should not be in the bottom 20 of the batch. So that is a thumb rule which I follow. And for me, dance is something which I really loved doing, but sadly I missed it in my work, right? Because and when I joined, I was so sad to see there was no dance club or a music club. No club was there. All was unofficial and all that. So then we all decided, okay, and then I spoke to my batchmates, and then we directly, I guess in the first 2 weeks of SP, we had gone to the faculty and told we want a dance club. She said, okay, go ahead. So right from framing the club's name, for example, Spin, right? It starts with SP. So we wanted
Yeah.
something which starts with SP. So we thought of various names and Spin came into the picture. And then I guess our batch had a lot of dance enthusiasts who are very keen on dancing and doing what they love. So people were really supportive, and I would say that also got people together also. So that is where my intention, our intention of having a club was more about having a channel where people can interact and have fun. For example, academic group. See, for example, your 200 people are there, right? How will you guys interact? One is an academic group. One is maybe group from your own area. We might be from Bangalore, or you might be from Hyderabad or somewhere, right? So you will interact with those kind of people. So this should also be a means where again, dance may, there's no language barrier, nothing. It's people who are all interested can come and dance. So that is a place where people can come and interact with each other. So that was the primary goal of a dance club, was to have that interaction, and again, of course, learn dance, obviously, because I for example had no clue what is Bhangra, or what is I don't think more names. There could be so many Bharatanatyam. These things I have heard of it. I have not actually done it. But once I got there, I actually got to know what is Bhangra and all Rajasthani and all these things. Actually, I got to witness all that. So yeah, dance was really my passion. I would say my first year was fully on dance only. That's what when you ask the question, what should supply planning do for the first year? I said, don't do anything. Just be chill and relax in the first year, because I literally spent I did zero time. I spent zero time in I would say academics. Again, I should not be saying it, but yeah, that's the truth. I didn't spend much time in academics, and not much time in all these competitions and all. I was just spending time on just coordinating all the so many dance sessions also come by. For example, Sargam, or for example, every month something or the Independence Day, Republic Day, so many times. So I was fully engrossed in just coordinating, and sometimes I used to participate at times. Alumni, Alcom, there was Spandan dance. So I
Right.
spent my entire 1 year just in dance only. So I think I switched on to serious mode only in a second year. First year was like ekdam a breeze for me. So yeah.
That's awesome. So that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you so much, Shiva, for taking your time and talking about these things and the even the questions which all of us had. So thank you so much taking your time on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, sure, Arnav. It's my pleasure. So I'm very, very glad to interact with you guys. So have a good time, guys. Stay in touch.